Hello, today I'm going to be recommending you podcasts. So this isn't about books. I'm sorry. I just want to talk about podcasts, and I figure it's not so far away from books that I can put it on this channel, right? So if you like podcasts or are vaguely interested in trying out some podcasts, keep listening and hopefully you'll like some of my recommendations. I listen to quite a lot of podcasts, so these aren't like my absolute top 5 or anything. They're just 5 that I've been really appreciating recently and re-listening to and stuff that I thought you might enjoy. The first is called Limetown. I only discovered this a couple of weeks ago, but I fell immediately in love with it. Sadly, at the moment there are only 4 episodes and they only post 1 a month, but they are so going to be worth waiting for. Some of you may have heard of Serial that like a year ago just blew up the podcasting industry. It was about a woman called Sarah Koenig investigating an old murder case which just had so many question marks in it. And Limetown's kind of like that, apart from it's fictional. This young investigator is exploring a place called Limetown where 10 years ago the whole population of the town just like disappeared. There's a lot of mystery and suspicion that surrounds like the disappearance of the people of Limetown. So this reporter decides to try and get to the bottom of what's happened. Since it's fictional, there can be an answer, and the answer can be absolutely insane. As I say, it's only 4 episodes in, but stuff has already got crazy and it's so interesting. I didn't know it was fictional until after I listened to the first episode, and I felt kind of betrayed because I was like, oh well then what's the, like, it's not relevant to my life anymore. Like it didn't actually happen. It wasn't a news story. Then as I continue listening, I realise that that gives them the license to just make this thing just incredible. The second podcast I want to recommend is called The Heart. Even as I say The Heart, I can like hear the theme tune in my mind starting to play. The Heart is part of a podcasting network called Radiotopia, and I recommend you check out all of their shows. But The Heart's been around for years and it used to be under the name Audio Smut. It's about sex, but it's also about intimacy, and it's about people relating to other people, and it's about being honest with ourselves. And they do some really good interviews and also fictions and just discussions around topics. I feel really connected to this podcast. And it's also just, it's very empowering. Like as a woman, it just empowers me. It's not like about specifically women. It's just people talking very candidly about their emotions and about like sex and stuff. It's really touching, and it's something you don't get a lot of in mainstream media at all. My favourite episode of The Heart is called Movies in Your Head. And if you're going to listen to one episode of anything I recommend, that should be the one because it is perfect. Recommendation number 3 is called The Truth. The Truth is also part of Radiotopia, and it takes podcasting to a whole new level. Each episode is its own little story, and they can be about absolutely anything, but they're really extremely highly produced narratives, and more than just being good narratives, the sound journey they take you on is incredible. The voice acting is awesome, but they also have every little background noise, anything that can get you into this environment in your head. And even though they're only like 20 minutes long or something, you get so into it, and then there's this like massive plot twist in the end, and you're like, ah! They're the sort of things that you have to listen to and then just like sit still for 10 minutes and contemplate your place in the earth. Podcast number 4 is Woman of the Hour with Lena Dunham. This is just a mini-series and it's weekly, and there are only 2 episodes so far. And as much as you may have problems with Lena Dunham, she does talk very maturely and openly and intellectually about these subjects. She interviews a lot of different people on them, and it's just so like real. It's just like women being real and talking about women stuff, and it's really good. I've put 2 women podcasts on here, haven't I? I'm a woman! I love being a woman. I'm really looking forward to more episodes of this. Last but not least recommendation is a show that hasn't put an episode out since July, but I think about all the time, and it is called Mystery Show. It's by a company called Gimlet Media that now has 4 shows, and they're all really good. Mystery Show is hosted by Starlee Kine, and there were 6 episodes in the first series, and the premise is that she finds a mystery that can't be solved with the internet. For example, in one case, a woman comes to Starlee and says, I wrote this book and there were 1,000 copies printed, and my friend sent me a photo of Britney Spears holding a copy, and I haven't been able to figure out how she got hold of it. Like, tell me how she, and like, did she read it? Did she like it? Find out for me. And Starlee has to go and like physically investigate how these books were distributed and who got them and who could have given it to Britney, and see if she can like contact her to find out these things. So there's a lot of travel, there's a lot of interviews, a lot of stuff that feels like it's the opposite of like the tech podcasts we see of today, because it is her like actually discovering something. Since I started listening to Mystery Show, everything in my life has become an episode of Mystery Show. Like if there's something I want to find out, I'm like, oh, this is Mystery Show episode 7. Charlotte finds out what door this key unlocks. Charlotte tracks down the origin of this lighter she stole from somebody at a club. Charlotte figures out who's at the door. So yeah, Mystery Show is really good, and it's just a bit different, and it's really cool. So this has been me recommending 5 podcasts. If you like this, I have so many more that I can recommend. So feel free to tell me that you like this and I can do another one. And if you have any recommendations for me, definitely leave them in the comments, although I probably have listened to them before. If you're just getting into podcasts, I recommend you download an app on your phone instead of like doing it on iTunes, because it's so much better. I use an app called Pocket Cast for Android, and you can just kind of pick any show and play it and listen to it and change the speed. I like to listen to things quickly, and it's really good. I'd also recommend Beyond Pod for Android. Don't really know about iOS because I don't have an iPhone. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll leave links to all of the podcasts I've mentioned down below. I will see you soon for more books, and maybe in the future more podcasts, because I really like them.